Welcome to Skide Magazine's coverage of the 2014 World Ultimate Club Championships. I'm Liam Rosen here with Nikki Smith. We're about to watch a women's pool play matchup between Showdown from Austin, Texas and HUCK from Tokyo, Japan. It's a beautiful day out here in Lecco. The sun has come out on the fields and sucked away some of the water that's been piling up over the last week as the opening poll goes up and Showdown will start out on offense.
We spoke to HUCK briefly before the game. They seem a very confident team, one of the top 2 teams in Japan. Looking forward to playing one of the top American teams.
Katie Forth working with it, gets it into Christina Contreras, captain of this Showdown team. Contreras immediately finds Barbara Correa Martin. Showdown very close now to the end zone.
They're showing some great patience. They're not pushing it.
Shireen Raby finding Forth right into the end zone for the Showdown score. And Showdown gets the first point of the game. So offense holds for Showdown. And they'll be pulling off to HUCK. Talked to Showdown coach Sean McCall before the game as well. Sean is a first-time official coach of this team. He's been informally helping out the team throughout the past 2 years. So he was giving the team some specific instructions against the Japanese to try to combat the Japanese style of play. He was recognizing that the Japanese like to break with very quick movement. They don't tend to shimmy or anything like that. So he was shouting at his players actually during the warm-ups, keep your butt low and keep a stable mark to not get turned around on the mark.
And movement on this field is going to be a problem. I think both teams flagged that. They've put some
sawdust down on the field.
Down, which has helped things somewhat, but it's still very muddy. It's still hard to change directions quickly.
You see that sawdust on your screen in the middle. That's just because the middle of the field got torn up. It was so wet this morning. The field is finally starting to dry out now. But I don't know how good of a decision that was, as players seem to be slipping on the sawdust. We did, though, see Showdown in their opening warm-ups actually went over to the parts of the field with the mud under instructions from their coach to just get acquainted with the mud and see how their footing held up. So Ayumi Sano for Showdown, working with Maiko Hara.
Oh, there goes someone in the sawdust.
And HUCK, true to their name, HUCK's deep right away. Yukari Kobori comes down with the score under defensive pressure from Showdown. And this is a very, very fun team, this HUCK team. We were laughing and joking around with them before the game. I watched them play at Emerald City Classic in 2011, and they could be heard all over the field with their vibrant cheers. It's going to be no different today.
Yukari, who caught the goal, was one of the members of the Japanese women's team in 2012, who won Worlds. She has a strong relationship with some Australian players as well. They've come over, Michelle Phillips has come over and played with HUCK for a couple of months.
The captain of this team, as we see the HUCK again. Kobori, skies for the score. So both teams holding so far on offense. It's a light breeze in the stands, probably the most wind we've seen all day. Still not a lot, though, not enough to deter HUCK from doing what their name suggests. Those of you watching from home, follow me on Twitter, Skyd_Liam Rosen. That's SKYD_LAIMROSEN. I'm going to be looking at my Twitter feed all day, so read off the choice tweets as we see a wide swing pass go over for Showdown. Correa Martin swings it over to Bex Forth. He's going to send it deep right away. She sees Shireen Raby. Raby's got to run this one down. Can't catch up to it, though. That grass is so deceiving as players unable to gain footing in this mud.
I was at the field yesterday, and there was a layer of water, probably 10 centimeters in some places, all across the field. So it's better than that, but it's definitely made a difference to the playing conditions.
Organizers actually brought in helicopters to siphon the water off the fields. They were rotating just over the field to use the rotors to actually move the water off the fields. I've never seen anything like it.
Neither have I.
So Huck working it back up the field. Neither team with a break so far. Huck looking for one here. Looks like a call on the field. Pick call downfield. So disc is going to go back to Yuko Sato. Sato also a member of the women's team that won gold in Sakai 2 years ago. Sato looking for the dump. Gets it off. Pick called, though, again on the field. So disc will remain with Yuka Kawano.
It's looking like there's some good communication between the players on the field. And we also have game advisors. If you can look out for a yellow shirt on the sideline, and we'll talk a little bit more about the game advisors and their role and their inclusion for the first time in a world event shortly.
Still a bit of discussion on the field. Game advisors haven't stepped in yet. So just a little bit more about the game advisors now that we have brought them up. They are a WFDF initiative to provide communication help for players that speak different languages and players that may not have 100% grasp of the rules. This is a very new program. This is the first tournament that they've ever been implemented at. The disc goes back.
And also for those times in the heat of the moment where you just need someone with a calm head to remind the players of the rules, that's part of their role.
So disc going all the way back to Yuko Sato. Sato, dump off to Kawano. Swings to Kawasaki. Another pick call downfield. So lots of bodying up and movement. Disc back to Sato.
Disc in on 3.
Sato looking for the dump. Center of the field now for Huck. Sato with it again.
Both teams being very patient around the end zone.
Nice dump defense from Showdown. Almost forces the turn, but Huck able to control it. And the quick flip into the end zone for the score. That was fast from Yuka Kawano. Throwing that assist, catching and throwing immediately.
Yeah, some nice speedy play after a lot of stoppages there.
You see the nice Huck celebrations again, and how about these Japanese jerseys? Always keeping it interesting with multi-colors. Sure to be a hit at trading night.
Absolutely, yeah. A few people are going to want those shorts, I think. I've always wanted to ask the Japanese players about their total skin coverage, whether it's an aesthetic thing and people say it's because of the sun, and that's what they told me. They just absolutely want top sun protection. And I said, don't you get hot? And apparently they don't. Apparently they have very breathable fibers, and it's worth it for the protection.
I've always been interested in the fact that they wear sunglasses on top of their hats even when they're playing.
Yeah, that is unusual. I used to be a sunglass on head wearer as a player, and if you've got the right sunglasses, they stay there, but it is unusual.
It's definitely a distinguishing feature of Japanese teams. Even the Japanese women's team has taken to that style of fashion when they've all come together. That team actually featured players from the top 3 teams, who, as we mentioned before, are all very close. Uno, Mud, and Huck. The Huck is generally the team that comes in second place at some of these Japanese tournaments. As we see here, Showdown will run a pull play. They're setting up in a side stack, and they're going to have Sonny Harris flood into the middle. Excuse me, that's sent deep from Showdown. Going to go up for it, but Huck able to get the D. And Huck going down the other way. Yuka Kawano with the dish. She had the quick flip for the assist earlier. Now gets off the inside break.
Continuation after a big bump there.
Disc swung all the way across the other side of the field. Sato up line to Kawano. Kawano sends it deep. Looks like that's going to be called a score. Just barely got in, so HUCK goes up 3-1 against Showdown.
True to its name, I feel like HUCK is always looking for the HUCK out there. They're being reasonably patient. They're choosing good options, but they're certainly looking to work their long game.
We asked them about the origin of their name before the game. Seems like a simple question, and the answer was just as simple. They said, long shooter. That's right. Their answer for their name, and you can see it in the way that they have played so far as we take another look at that HUCK from Yuka Kawano. Her second assist so far in this game.
Showdown is ready to go as HUCK sorts out its lineup for this defensive point. Something interesting I learned before the game is that Showdown doesn't run specific O and D lines. Certainly these days, most teams have their O lines, and their D lines tend to run a small O line of the same players over and over. But the Showdown coach calls every point, and players rotate through O and D.
I asked Coach McCall how he actually called his lines. He just said by feeling. He said there's certain groups of players that play well together, but he generally doesn't have any specific systems. We see now another pool play that was actually foiled by HUCK putting on a zone. They wanted one of the fourth sisters. They actually both flooded into the middle, but Japan set up a zone and set that one down. And Showdown throws deep right away, trying to answer back as the Japanese defender falls down. And Contreras toes the line. Now to fourth, high release backhand into the end zone. Two HUCK defenders there.
That's a point.
And Sarah Levin comes down with it using her height. Saw Levin at Paganello 2 years ago, playing with fourth on the Super Hot Pot team. Had some big plays in that tournament.
I feel like as soon as Showdown was able to break through that cup, they really took advantage of it and just moved the disc really quickly, and that enabled them to get the point before HUCK could really regroup.
Although if I'm Showdown, I'm not happy about that last decision. That disc was sent up with two HUCK defenders there. It was a stationary receiver in the back of the end zone. So we take a look at this replay. It's a very tough catch to make.
You're right.
See
some good air there. They picked their receiver.
Exactly. Levin's one of the more popular receivers for Showdown, and you can see why. Showdown keeping it close, 3-2.
Track your girl. Look at your girl while you run down. Track her.
So HUCK will be off to the races again. Showdown's defense not really able to stop their offense so far. Fujioka to Hara. To Sano. And that's put deep. Nice shot right to the end zone. She'll have to toe the line.
Call on the play.
That disc will be sent back, but otherwise a very solid offensive possession from the Japanese. Yukari Kobori, this team's captain. Check the disc in. Kobori. Right on the end zone line now. And Jackie Ikeji. 4-2. HUCK up by 2.
And HUCK has players from a number of Japanese representative teams in their squad. They've got women's masters players from 2012. They have, as we've mentioned before, players from the 2012 women's team that won Worlds. And they also have an under-23. They have 2 under-23 players who competed in Toronto. And that includes their rookie, Date Mana, who is at 21 the youngest player on the team. A very promising, very strong player.
Taking a look again at the nice forehand shot that was called back with the call in the field. Huck, though, unfazed, flips it right in to the end zone for the goal, so they'll take an early 4-2 lead. Short pull from the Japanese, that's a roller. Stopped by Showdown. Fourth with it. Looking for the power dump. Fourth gets it into her sister. Raby. Working with Korea Martin, who sends it deep. Fourth is there, gonna go up for it. Skies for the goal. Beck's fourth. Keeping Showdown in the game, 4-3 Huck.
Their end zone grabs are absolutely keeping them in the game. Some really nice takes by the Showdown women in the end zone.
And astute fans will notice that there are two twins on this team. Bex and Katie Forth, who have been stalwarts in the UK Ultimate scene, and Katie more so in the Houston Ultimate scene for a long while now. And Bex still living in the UK, where recently she's played for Iceni, but frequently comes back to play the club series with Showdown and joins her sister, and those two are a very formidable duo.
Speaking of the club series, Showdown's been traveling really well in America this year in the tournament so far, placing 6th at the recent US Open. And another claim that they can make in that tournament is that they beat Brute Squad, who eventually went on to win the whole tournament. So they are looking really strong going into regionals and nationals this year.
I talked to Coach McCall. He's happy with the team's performance thus far. They're only doing 3 tournaments this year, and Worlds is one of them. So they're going for the double peak. They went to the US Open. They're here at Worlds, and they'll probably just be going to Labor Day before playing the club series. Hara thinks about sending it deep, but it's not there. Stuck on that far sideline. Gets the dump off to Fujioka. Swings it all the way across the field down to Kobori. Kobori, backhand Huck deep. And that Japanese receiver, Sanako Tanaka, was wide open. Bit of miscommunication from Showdown, and they let her escape.
So Huck managing to maintain their 2-point lead. Some great cutting, some great speed on their part, really helping them out. I feel like most of the points are being scored down that way, but I don't think it's the wind. I think wind isn't playing much of a factor at this stage.
So teams will go now into a timeout to talk it over. We, though, are going to be back just after the timeout, so don't tune out yet. This is Liam Rosen here with Nikki Smith, the 2014 World Ultimate Club Championships.
The guy we talked to was from Germany. He played mixed nationals with him.
So HUCK pulls off to Showdown after the short timeout stoppage. Horizontal stack from Showdown as Fourth works with it.
Really struggling to get open for Showdown.
Fourth sisters in, but you're right, it's a lack of downfield cuts. Finally, Levin is able to get open. Levin swinging back to Fourth. But an overthrow. Shireen Raby not able to catch up for it, and HUCK goes the other way.
Looking for some cuts from upfield.
Levin really struggling on that marker, big frame in this mud, not having a good time with the changes of direction.
I feel like HUCK's being a little bit static and giving options. There we go.
Contreras following the play, but that HUCK overthrown. So Showdown will get one more chance to bring it all the way up.
Showdown's going to want to have more cutters downfield, getting open, making really decisive cuts, and giving the throwers some options. They really didn't have a lot there.
So Katie Fourth, one of the Fourth twins, brings the disc up. Katie's the one that lives in Texas, lived in Texas for many years.
Great continuation there.
Janelle Van Zant with it. Van Zant thinking about the deep shot, doesn't take it. Levin, though, is overthrown again. So HUCK with it, about half field. Sato looking for the dump. Not there. Sato loses her balance. Stall counts getting high, and she's forced to fling it away.
She had a lot of static players just looking at her, I feel, from in the middle of the field, looking anxiously, but not making any decisive cuts to help her out.
So disc actually went out of bounds right away, so Showdown will gain a slight advantage as Katie Fourth picks up. Fourth needs to get off the line, jams it though, right up to that near sideline. Swung back to Van Zant.
Into the middle of the field's usually a good idea, but not necessarily when it looks like that.
Sure. I think you might see some teams start to force middle today to try to force teams to play in that mud. So that's sent deep, but too far out of bounds. So lots of mistakes for Showdown so far on this point.
HUCK just taking their time, setting up what looks like a horizontal offense. And hopefully looking to move it quickly this time.
Wind still very light. It's a beautiful day here in Lecco. It was supposed to rain, actually. Forecast was for thunderstorms.
At 2 o'clock.
Haven't seen anything so far. I do see a bit of gray clouds off in the distance. Let's hope everything holds up.
Yeah, we've been very lucky today. I think we've earned it, though, after this week.
So HUCK, meanwhile, moves it up to the middle of the field. Sato sends it deep. Manadate's there. And HUCK's youngest player comes up big to put them on the board, 6-3.
Yep, just managed to get wide open and make the cut they were looking for. So finally they could put their game plan into action and throw it to the open player in the end zone.
Showdown has to clean up their offense if they want to stay in the game. There's been too many execution errors and mistakes so far. They just look tired. They're not able to keep up with HUCK's speed.
That's right. They need to make some very sharp cuts, and they need to complete those passes and keep the disc moving.
So it looks like there will not be a timeout, I don't believe, so that graphic is not correct. That popped up real quick there.
No, one of the roles of the game advisors is to help enforce the rule of the time taken between points to help move things along, and to keep teams putting their hand up within time. So looks like it's HUCK's turn to do that. The whistle just went.
That's something I'm very much in favor of, having good timekeepers and advisors that keep things on track, especially for things like offsides. You see, if you're in an unobserved tournament, you're going to see lots of teams that are just gaining that small advantage, and they can be enough that adds up over the course of the game.
Looking like a zone from HUCK, so they've got 3 players up the front there, moving with the disc. They're dropping 1 player back. No, it's not an assassination, but they're managing to push the disc over to the side where they want it.
Big hammer from Showdown into the center, completed. But another hammer doesn't fall Showdown's way.
I think that is exactly the outcome that HUCK wanted with that zone, to make Showdown throw passes they weren't comfortable with, try and go over the top and make mistakes, and that's exactly what happened.
This is a Showdown team, although not all of the players went down to Torneo Eterna Primavera in Colombia earlier this year in the preseason and played the finals. We see a poach D. So Showdown with it, short field. Shelby Cooney back to Crouch. Crouch over to Sarah Blythe. Crouch and Blythe, 2 players that have played together for a long time. Blythe pivoting. Doesn't like what she sees.
Not a lot of open cuts happening from Showdown.
So lots of dump work. Blythe with it again. About 10 yards out. Big swing over the top of the defenders to Crouch. Crouch with the around backhand break.
Great point. When they were finally able to swing it across the field, that's what opened things up for them and let them get that point. So 6-4, Showdown keeping in things here.
Edith Tang with the score off the backhand from Kara Crouch.
Yeah, that good quick movement across the field to an open cut's really going to help them. They just need to do more of it.
Going back to the discussion about the game advisors, if you're just tuning in, these figures with the yellow shirts are not actually observers. They're not referees. The self-officiation is staying with the players. So game advisors, as you see there, will do things like signal goals. They'll signal the calls on the field, which is very helpful for us, for example, as commentators, so we can see what's going on.
They'll blow the whistle when it's time for the pull. Signal offsides.
And this is just a pilot program, so this is the first time that this has ever been done. They've brought over actually observers from the USA Ultimate North American system, so people with training, people that are experienced and know how to call a game without actually making active rulings as the poll goes up for Showdown.
And just to note that the game observers are not at all games. I think there's perhaps 6 of them in the tournament, so they alternate between games.
All of these stream games on Sky will have one, but most of the other tournaments are staying completely self-officiated with no advisors, as HUCK does that one fast, and Showdown looking confused, bamboozled, trying to figure out how to stop HUCK's quick offense.
Yeah, that quick movement is going to get them lots of points.
So Showdown not proving they'll go down yet. HUCK, though, still up 7-4.
looking to take the half. Due to the field conditions and the weather and the possibility of more rain, games have been shortened. So half is at 8, games to 15.
Showdown now coming out in vertical stack. Fourth has Harris. Far side dump. Finding Levin. Levin, no mark. Finding Harris. Korea Martin. Backhand into Shelton. Shelton back to Korea Martin, but it's overthrown, and the overthrows are costing Showdown this game.
HUCK taking their time setting up. No one's claimed the disc just yet.
Looks like Shelton will be the one to get on the mark. Arisa Kawasaki will pick the disc up for HUCK. Kawasaki wanted to go deep immediately, not there. Gets the up line off to Sato, and Sato sends it deep. Great D from Showdown. Mario Poindexter on the block for Showdown, and that'll get them riled up. Not too much defense so far from this Texas team. Harris up line to fourth. Fourth, power position. Near side of the field. Finding fourth. Fourth backhand break into the center. Harris. Harris. Quick backhand to Shelton in the end zone for the break.
That's great work by Showdown. They really respected that D. They really made it worthwhile and kept themselves from halftime.
So Showdown grabbing the point there. Still, though, need a couple breaks to tie it up before this game goes to half. These are shortened games because of the field cancellations yesterday. Actually, the entire tournament was canceled due to water on the fields. They brought in helicopters. Blocked by Shelton. So Shelton coming up big in these last 2 points. She's the one who scored the last goal for Showdown. Blythe on the far sideline. Gets it up line. There's going to be a poach D, though, from HUCK. Looks like there's a foul on the throw, so that will come back to Blythe.
Showdown's really going to want to get that disc off the line and use the space on the other side of the field.
And this is something here where an upline cut is really tough because you're jamming into a whole group of players. See if they can get it off the line just for a nice flat swing, but she doesn't. She jams it right in for a line toe to Hannah Murray.
Lucky point. What they really want to look for when someone makes that upline cut, they want someone coming in to fill the space from the front of the stack, and that's going to let them have the swing across the field and open up all kinds of room for a point.
Tough throw, but Blythe gets it done. So Showdown now within one.
HUCK really hoping to take halftime, go into halftime up with the advantage.
This is the first game we've done so far in the women's division. If you followed our coverage early today, we saw Buzz Bullets, another Japanese team, take down Emo decisively.
Take apart the field a little bit too, but they've managed to they've actually managed to do a really good job, I think, with the sawdust. It looks a bit ugly, but it's preventing the field from getting further destroyed.
They've actually also had a roller come in and flatten the field down to try to get rid of any of the bumps.
I imagine some of our listeners would have played Australian Nationals in 2008 in Coffs Harbour, where all of the field turned into swirling mud pits. People lost shoes in that tournament. A zone has been put on by Showdown. Looks like they have 1 player on the disc and 3 behind. And HUCK manages to break through, and Showdown's struggling to catch up. layout gives them a chance.
HUCK's now looking to break easily through the cup. That's one thing about having 4 women around the disc, is if you can get through it with fast disc movement, it's very hard for the cup to catch up. And HUCK now right on the end zone line. Just need to have the patience to execute here to prevent Showdown from going the other way and tying it up before half. This is a key point to take half for HUCK.
And they do it.
They'll jam it in, so no contest on that goal. HUCK taking halftime after a near scare from Showdown. 8-6. We'll go into half. Stay tuned for our halftime interview. Otherwise, we'll be back with you after the break. I'm Liam Rosen from Skyd Magazine. For Nikki Smith, hope to catch you later.
Here with Bex Forth from Showdown. So how are you enjoying Italy and Lecco for the last day or two?
Well, today is a lot nicer than yesterday. It's a beautiful day today, and actually the playing conditions are really lovely, even though this morning was a bit sloggy. But it's lovely to be here, and Lecco's so beautiful. Just a shame there was a lot of rain yesterday.
And so you've got a game here against HUCK. So what was your initial game plan coming into this game?
We were trying not to change our game too much, and we were trying to slow them down on D. They are a very quick team, and they catch and release very quickly. So we're trying our best to slow that down.
And they took a bit of a lead in that first half, but you had to adjust slightly. So what sort of adjustments were you making during that half?
Well, part of it is just anticipating what their movements are, and some people on the team never played against the Japanese, so it's just working out what they do, because this is a very different style than the US players. So it's just feeling out that anticipation, which Good D is all about.
Thanks very much, Bex, and we'll be back with the second half in a few moments.
Coming back in after halftime, miscommunication for HUCK. Will give Showdown the chance to come between one. Crouch to Shelton. Shelton with the backhand, overthrown.
Just a little bit too high for both girls. HUCK's going to get set up and take their time. Looks like they're running a horizontal stack. So they're keeping it short, and that leaves them a lot of room behind, a lot of space to run into to play the game they want to play with the HUCKs.
Maiko Hara picks up the disc, one of the older players on this squad. She was actually the captain of the women's masters team at Sakai in 2012.
I have played against her in a warm-up match when I was playing with Mexico. Big HUCK there.
Almost all the way into the end zone. Sanako Tanaka finding her receiver, Ayumi Fujioka. So HUCK making it look easy, recovering and holding on offense after the early turnover.
There was some close defending there by Showdown. They were right there, but they just couldn't get their hand on the disc for that D when they needed to.
So high fives all around for HUCK as they go up on Showdown. Many expected the U.S. teams to roll through this tournament, but everyone forgets about the dominance of the Japanese women. They're very fast, they love to throw it deep, and their throws are very, very precise. The story of this game, Nikki, so far has been the number of drops and miscommunications on Showdown's side, whereas the Japanese have been very efficient on offense.
They're very precise and they're very focused. We were there watching them warm up, and the way they work as a team and the way they communicate and absolutely focus 100% on what they're doing is really giving them the edge here. Showdown really needs to use this chance to get back on the board. I feel like a 4-point difference is sort of the tipping point, so they want to avoid that if they possibly can with a strong O line.
Showdown played a game earlier today, took down the New Zealand team Artemis 15-5.
Things are not feeling as easy for them in this game, that's for sure.
Can be tough to ramp up the intensity as you start to face suddenly what's a very strong opponent. Pull centered by Hammond into Raby. Raby far side to fourth, drop discs. Huck looks to Huck. Not there, gets it up line, and Showdown having trouble catching up on defense. Kawasaki to Kawano. D though from Sarah Levin. And Levin rights through from behind. Showdown's gonna throw it deep right away. Fourth is there. That disc will hang, but ultimately too far. That's been the case with many of Showdown's long shots, just a bit too far for their receivers.
It really looked like the wind was gonna help them out for a split second there. It did sort of hang and bounce in the air, but it's hard. It's a hard slog running on those fields. Might look nice and green at home, but it's pretty muddy and divots. It's not a fast field.
Showdown team is looking a bit sluggish out today. I think they came in expecting to have a bit more energy. This is last round of the day as Huck prepares to go all the way up the field. Huck, though, turns it over. So Showdown with a short field. As Korea Morton almost falls over. Fourth into the end zone to Hammond. Hammond now just outside the end zone line. Hammond to fourth.
Great work there by Showdown to capitalize on turnover close to the end zone. They really needed to do that to bring it to within 2, to feel like they're still in the game.
As you mentioned, that's a big swing to stay within 2 or go down 4, especially just coming out of half. This can be the difference in momentum that will determine how the rest of this game is played.
So they need to call a strong line, and they need to keep that momentum going. Coach there calling the line. As I mentioned earlier, Showdown doesn't run an O-line and a D-line like most teams do. They run all their players through O and through D, and the coach, he goes with his intuition as to what the right combination is for each point.
It's Coach Sean McCall. Frequenters of Paganello will recognize McCall during his time with the Texas-based team Nosuo. He's actually wearing a Nosuo jersey right now on the field.
All right, Showdown settling their last-minute details as they hope for a turn on D so that they can get one step closer to closing this game up. They're going to need this.
If you're watching the stream live from home, feel free to send us a tweet. Find me at skied_Liam Rosen. Nikki, why don't you put your Twitter out on the air? I'm not even sure what it is.
It's I am Smithers with underscores between the words. So I am Smithers, you can see it there on your screen. I would love to hear from some of our Australian fans at home or anybody. If you have any questions, comments, anything you want to hear, tweet it.
We'll be reading the best tweets out live on the air as we see Showdown has come out in another zone, which Huck is ripping apart with overhead throws. Now about 3/4 of the way down the field, though, on that far sideline. Fujioka.
Looks like Showdown's transition to man.
Ikeji right into the end zone for Huck. So Huck keeps that 3-point lead a reality as they go up 10-7 in this game to 15.
It's one of the most difficult things, I think, on defense in Ultimate is transitioning from your zone to your man D, or person-to-person defense. You necessarily need to do it near the end zone, which is a very dangerous place, and it takes a lot of communication between your team members to make sure everyone is marked up. And I felt a little bit there like the transition for Showdown wasn't as sharp as it could have been, and it left a player standing there in the end zone easily available to catch that point. So Huck taking a mini timeout there.
See again the replay, the easy score, just great line awareness to bring that in. If you watch that again, just jumped in, extended her feet back, and got the easy point. So as Huck prepares to pull off, they have some international experience, played at the last club championships in Prague, came to Emerald City Classic in Seattle in 2011. Actually, funny story about that tournament. We talked to them before the game. They missed their flight home back to Tokyo because they were having too much fun shopping in Seattle.
That became a very expensive shopping trip for them.
Drop disc.
Huck really likes to take their time to set up the offense. And again, leaving a lot of space behind them. And there goes someone now into it. There goes the player for the long cut, changes her mind.
So Nishijima with it now. Looking for the dump. Tries to punch it in through with the backhand IO. Sunny Harris the other way. Harris finding fourth. Fourth rips the backhand. Floating, but again, too far.
Maybe the wind is a little bit deceptive. Well, from our perspective, we can see the 40 different country flags.
I think it's more a chemistry issue and an issue with judging the stability of the pitch. Showdown's just having a hard time trying to figure out the speed at which players are able to get open. And that was a very, very tough throw from fourth. She put it in inside out over the heads of the stack. The receiver actually wasn't really cutting deep at that point, had to change direction. Not an easy reception to make as Huck throws it deep. Layout save near the end zone from Ri Nishijima. Pick called, so disc will come back to Kawasaki.
At the beginning of the game, we were up this end with about 3 or 4 picks called in a row, so hopefully that won't happen again this time. Disc is coming in on 3.
And a timeout will be called immediately from Nishijima. Both teams only get 2 timeouts in this game just because it is a shortened game, but Huck will take this one here. This is a critical point, as you talked about before, Nikki. Going up 4 this late in the game could spell the dagger.
That's right, so they're going to want to execute this quickly. They're going to want to have 1 or 2 passes at the most to quickly punch in that goal and take them that next step closer to winning.
See the nice layout save off the Huck from Nishijima. So as both teams talk it over, we'll rejoin you after the timeout.
Este programa está transmitido por
Sky Magazine.
Sky Magazine.
SKD Magazine. Sky Magazine.
Sky Magazine.
Sky D Magazine.
Sky Magazine.
Sky Magazine.
Welcome back.
Huck coming in after the timeout.
And so Huck has a responsibility as the offensive team of setting up first, which they've done, and Showdown now adjusts their position. Huck, technically, that's right. So the player's going back. She needs to stay where she initially set up.
And an interesting defense from fourth. She actually poached off the dump defender a little bit. Did actually end up adjusting. There was a call on the play, so disc is going back. So disc back in the hands of Nishijima. She had that layout catch earlier off the Huck. Nishijima forehand break. Fast movement now from Huck near the end zone. On the far sideline, high release backhand for the score.
And Huck really took advantage of the break there. That is exactly what they wanted to do in front of the end zone. They got the break throw off. They threw in the direction that Showdown did not want them to throw. That put Showdown's entire offense on the wrong side of their players, and Huck was able to capitalize on that for what I think is a really important goal. So that puts them 4 points up. It puts them within 4 points of a victory, and that could be a big deal for Showdown.
Showdown looking a little sluggish here. Their 22-person roster perhaps feeling the pain of the field conditions. Tournament organization here in Lecco, they are used to this heat being from Texas.
I think also starting with a win, starting with a decisive win, it feels good. It's not always the best thing for your tournament. I think I've spoken to a few teams today who started off against the top seed in their pool, a hard game, even a loss, but that really sets you up to improve, to focus, to step up for the rest of your games. And it can be more difficult to do that if you've come away with an easy win in your first game.
So Huck prepares to receive the pole. Huck, one of the Tokyo teams, has been in existence since 2003. Excuse me, Huck is polling to Showdown. Generally coming second in Japan behind Uno. They did win a tournament earlier this year, CGI. Came in third place at Dream Cup and second place in the Japanese Women's National Championships is Kara Crouch with it far side. Tries to get the break off for the swing. That will be a foul, though. So disc back to Crouch.
That is exactly what she wants to do, though. She wants to keep that disc off the line, get it in the middle of the field. That leaves a lot more space and a lot more options for their team. There we go.
And this time, Crouch does get it off to Robbie. Great catch from Blythe under pressure. Blythe into Contreras. Contreras looking for the backhand. It's not there. Swings back to fourth and overthrows fourth.
Another error they can't afford for Showdown.
Huck pivoting, Kawasaki to Kubori. Ikeji. Nishijima sends it deep. Kubori is there. She goes up and makes a fantastic catch amid defensive pressure from Kara Crouch. And another shot into the end zone. Huck is rolling. Saki Shintani with the goal. 12-7, Huck over Showdown.
And that is exactly Huck's game plan right there, put into action. That is exactly what they want to do. Now that's unusual amongst the Japanese teams. The Japanese teams don't tend to have the height advantage, which can make a hucking game more difficult. These girls have practiced it, and they know how to place the disc. They know how to get advantage with their body to be in the right spot, and their game's working for them.
One of the things that really impresses me about the Japanese hucking game, they're very good at putting the disc into these tight spaces. They keep their hucks low and fast, and they put them right into where the offensive player can just run right onto them.
Yeah, they are pinpoint hucks.
Take a look again at that sky from Kubori, captain of the Huck team. She's been playing Ultimate for 8 years, 4 years on Huck.
And we'll hear a whistle soon as the time limit is almost up. There it is.
So Madoka Kosa with a pole for Huck. Now with a commanding 5-point lead late in the game. Fourth to Hammond. Sonny Harris finding fourth again, leaping for the catch in fourth, sending it deep. Huck defenders there, though. Fantastic reception.
Looks like there's some debate as to whether it was in. The Showdown player is saying yes, it was in.
I believe that was a score from my perspective. And that will be called a score. So Janelle Van Zandt making taking no time, that is, to call that one in for Showdown. And that's the point. They need to stay in this. Still, though, 12-8, Huck with a lead.
It looked like Showdown tried a handler ISO there, from what I could see. They had their 3 handlers back. The other 4 players went up the field to the side and up the field, leaving the 3 handlers a lot of space. So ISO is isolation, so isolating the 3 handlers. giving them the chance to move the disc and the time to then pick their opportunity for a long huck, and it worked for them.
Take a look at this reception from Van Zandt. Good awareness to keep the disc in and throws it down right away, knowing that that one's a score. Looking down at my Twitter feed, got a shout out from Annie Ortiz. She says, give Showdown a shout out. So Showdown, shout out from Annie Ortiz.
And Showdown will be looking for some strong defense here right away and get the disc back and narrow the gap to fewer than 4.
So pull out of bounds.
So Huck will call the brick. They will walk the disc to the middle of the field.
It looks like Showdown may be putting on a zone.
They are. It looks like a 3-person cup. Forcing one sideline. That's where they're going to want to keep the disc. They're going to want to stop those breaks. Because if they allow Huck to move it back and forth across the field, that's a lot of running.
Hara, though, wasting no time, putting a hammer over the cup to Kobori.
Looks like they've transitioned to man defense.
Kobori powers it through to Fujioka. Hara with it again. Fujioka thought about the end zone shot, did Yamashita. Not there yet, though. Tanaka, near sideline, gets it back in to Yamashita. Call on the field.
Not sure what's going on. It looks like the disc needs to go back. A contested call. And this is the opportunity for them, if they want, to consult with the game advisors. If there's questions about the rules, how to apply them, they have the option to question the game advisors standing there in the yellow shirts to find out exactly how the rules should be applied in this case. But it looks like some good discussion going on.
So foul was called. Disc will go back to Tanaka.
They're going to want to get the disc off the line as quickly as possible here.
And Tanaka does just that, finding Yamashita, who swings it back further to Hara. Huck losing a bit of meters, but working the disc all the way around to the other side of the field.
Great patience.
Nice D from Showdown.
There was no available dump option there for the Huck player when she really needed it, and just forced to put up the sideline in a tough throw.
Layout D from Diana Charrier. Fourth on the sideline, tries to jam it up, but it's overthrown. And trying to jam it up the line has been another one of Showdown's downfalls so far.
Nice patient game by Huck here, looking for good options.
And Huck throws that one deep. It's overthrown, though, so Showdown with another chance.
I think the best thing both teams can do on offense is be patient and disciplined. Oh, here's a timeout. Patient and disciplined with their offense, not jam it up the line. They want to create space, and they want to look for space, and that gives them time to do exactly what they want to do with the disc.
Showdown will discuss just that in the timeout. After a point with multiple turns, Showdown wanted to discuss that one, so it'll be checked back in by Blythe.
Looking for cuts, not a lot happening for her.
Blythe finally gets it back over to Charrier.
Huck really able to shut down the cuts there. There's a white shirt near every single Showdown player, making it hard for a dump cut. There we go.
Great upline cut from Charrier, getting the meters. Swings over to Blythe. Blythe puts up the high release to Ogden. Ogden's going to send it deep to fourth. Fourth has position, jumps too early.
Unlucky, some balance issues there, I think. Had to sort of look over her shoulder as she was going to catch the disc. Some balance issues in the middle of the field as well. You can probably see they've put down sawdust to absorb some of the water and make it less muddy. It's still pretty bumpy and pretty slick out there.
Immediate hammer from Huck to Kobori. Thinking about the deep shot, not there. No mark. One of the handlers is Showdown. Will stay in a zone. Blady throw. Kara crouches there, but Huck able to make the reception. Huck now about 10 meters out, trying to get it off the line, inside break, and just pops it over the top of the defender.
Huck really took a gamble there with a floaty outside-in forehand, sort of across and halfway up the field, and they managed to catch it. They pulled it off, and that's what got them the goal.
The difference is not in the decisions of both teams; it's in the execution. Huck is just simply executing better. Showdown's offense has been plagued with miscommunications, overthrows, and misreads. Saw Kara crouch, almost had that D, but went up a little too early, and Huck able to come down with it and flip it in for the score.
So Huck is within 2 of taking this game, and have managed to open up a 5-point lead. I think that's the biggest lead they've had so far this game. Looking here, the whistle goes. That means the pull needs to go up very shortly.
I asked Huck what they were looking to stop from Showdown before the game. They highlighted one player, Janelle Van Zandt, who caught that deep shot earlier, the one that towed the line and called it a goal right away. And they've managed to do a pretty good job of that, limiting her to 1 goal. Pull comes in to Hammond. Hammond to Harris. Swings to fourth. Back to Harris. Showdown with a lot of roster turnover this year. That's one thing that Coach McCall highlighted as one of their challenges, is integrating some of those newer players, especially the Central Florida girls. Hammond, Harris, Contreras now right on the end zone line. And Showdown will set up their end zone. Nice patience from Contreras, gets the around backhand off and just squeezes it into that tight space. And that's something they've done multiple times. This time it works out for them.
Yeah, that was excellent patience by Contreras there. Ideally, she did look for a dump at about a 5 count. And a dump and a swing there would have opened up a lot more options. But in the end, her patience paid off and she was able to find that player to connect with.
2 players on that point have been big for Showdown in this game. Mariel Hammond, Sunny Harris, both players out of the University of Central Florida. We watched both of them play in the final, or excuse me, the semifinal of the college championships this year. We're very big in that game, so both have signed on with Showdown for the 2014 club season.
Few heads down on Showdown as they walk off the field. They still need to keep fighting. It's within 4, but Huck only 2 points away from a victory here.
Without a way to stop Huck's offense, without some strategic adjustments, I don't see them getting very far in this one. They've been able to get in a couple of their own off some lucky shots, but it's going to be very hard to stop Huck.
Man D right away.
aggressive play.
She just had trouble stopping. It's so muddy and slippery, you can't make that quick stop, and she walks back after the travel. It doesn't need to be a stoppage.
Hara's gonna put the disc back in. And you have to back the last player in the stack as there's gonna be a foul called. Some collision between Blythe and Fujioka. Excuse me, that's Tanaka with the disc. Overthrown shot to the end zone. So Blythe will pick back up.
Very short stack, very short vertical stack.
Kara Crouch with it. Crouch, player on the United States World Games team. Her husband, Michael Nattenberg, is also here. Tank actually playing for Ragnarok. You can see him down there on the sidelines. A lot of the double wide guys have picked up with the team based out of Copenhagen, Ragnarok, cheering on some of their fellow Texas Ultimate players. Showdown works it back down the field. Crouch now with it. Crouch into Blythe. Blythe near sideline. Crouch having trouble getting open the mud. Finally gets the up line off. Centers back to Blythe. Blythe thinking about the swing, but it's not there. Hannah Murray comes in as the fill. Murray to Charrier. Back to Crouch. Crouch, quick wrist flip backhand to Blythe. Blythe foul.
I think that's the third collision we've had this point. It's getting pretty physical out there.
I think this is something you see a lot in Japanese Ultimate as well. The bump when you first run up on the mark is very much prevalent.
Yeah, we can see that here.
Blythe, trust pass to Crouch. Crouch, quick forehand into the end zone, but it's too far.
They really need patience and pinpoint execution around the end zone if Showdown's going to have a chance of coming back here.
So Huck 2 points away from putting this game in the basket.
Really short stacks here by both teams, leaving a lot of room behind.
Showdown's actually content with forcing the no-under and forcing Huck to throw the long shot, which I don't know is the greatest strategy. Haven't done it so far, though, as they're looking for the dump. Stall count's getting very high. She's forced to do a bailout throw.
And was almost bailed out, but not quite. Yep.
Showdown, though, still with another chance. Sarah Blythe will go and pick it up.
Looks like a stack right along the end zone, right along the sideline, not leaving them a lot of room, so they look for the swing.
Crouch now with it. Standing right on the sawdust. Crouch into Blythe. Crouch and Blythe working very well together, both veteran players on this Showdown squad.
And another missed huck by Showdown. It's costing them.
Showdown has not been able to adjust their throws at all in this game. It's not the performance they were hoping to come in here with.
Another nice patient setup by Huck. They know exactly what they want. They take their time. They've left themselves lots of room to run into. I think it's actually unusual to see a team setting up that close to their handlers. We'll be able to see it in just a minute. They've really only given them a few meters, and that's the space they're looking to put it into.
Didn't seem to matter, though, as Huck turns over deep right away. So a couple turnovers from Huck. It looks like there's a foul on the throw, though, so disc will be going back.
So all the players resume their original positions.
Sideline for Showdown, calling for some help deep. They know what Huck's plan is. I mean, it's right in their team name. It's not very hard to see that they want to throw the disc deep.
And their percentage of doing that with a completion has been very high this game.
Looking for the inside break. Lee gets it off to Kosa. Kosa inside to Fujioka. Fujioka sending it deep cross field. Wonderful Sky stays in.
Amazing take.
Tanaka. Nakagawa into the end zone for Huck. So Showdown not able to stop that one. Looking tired. Just 1 point away now. Huck 14-9 from putting this game away.
That was an amazing grab on offense. She hung in the air to bring that disc down. And again, her team was able to capitalize on it. I feel like Huck they've made some risky decisions occasionally to get the disc up the field, but I guess they know they have the capability to bring that disc down.
So Showdown will put on their game point line. Coach Sean McCall calling it off.
Looking at the replay here, there's a massive crossfield Huck. And that is huge.
Great elevation to bring that one in before the pass floated out of bounds.
And so often with a marvelous take like that, the adrenaline gets running and you don't always make a good decision once you've made that catch. But she was nice and patient with the disc and it paid off for the team.
So Showdown, game point line.
Getting ready to pull. Getting ready to pull.
Huck, one break away from upsetting Texas Showdown. Fourth to Hammond. Hammond swinging back to fourth. Hammond up line, having no trouble getting up. Her speed was impressive in the college championships this year. Finding Levin. Levin flips back to Hammond.
Really nice quick movement of the disc here. That's helping Showdown a lot.
Robbie to fourth. Fourth flips back to Robbie again. Robbie finds fourth. And fourth into the end zone. Sarah Levin, are you kidding me?
That is exactly the way that Showdown wants to play. They were able to get open. They were able to move that disc within 1 or 2 counts every single time. Marvelous catch in the end zone, and that's the kind of play they were hoping to bring. I think at this stage they've saved it a little late, but they've staved off the end of the game by 1 more point.
Sarah Levin, known to do that. Seen her play at Paganello. She had some highlight reel plays, and that one coming up big in the end zone, bidding through her defender to secure the point for Showdown, keep them in this game. Getting into the double digits, Showdown 10, Huck 14. So now Huck's offense will have a chance to continue their nearly perfect streak. Another look at that catch from Levin.
Yeah, she knew just where she needed to be, and she got there first. Great bid. All right, Showdown about to come out on defense, hoping to inch 1 point closer, but this could be it. It's a game to 15. So if Huck can maintain possession, they will win the game.
Possession and position.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I think the position they're looking for is a cutter streaking deep, and Maiko Hara with the disc. Centered to Hara. Into Ikeji. Ikeji, cutter streaking deep, and Showdown unable to catch up. They'll jump into the end zone. Some confusion about whether that was in. It looks like she did land right on the line, so play will resume.
Great patience here. That's what she wants. She doesn't want to force it.
Tanaka out to Hara. Hara looking for the quick flip, but it's not there. Ikeji back to Hara, swinging over forehand to the open side. Looks like that will be a goal, and that will be the game. 15-10, Huck from Tokyo, Japan takes down Showdown from Texas.
That was almost just clinical execution by Huck once again, and that's what's won them this game. Running harder, getting open, and completing it in the end zone almost every time.
And I think a disappointing, perhaps uncharacteristic performance from Showdown. They looked sluggish all the entire game. They look like they weren't really clicking. This isn't really the same showdown we saw at the U.S. Open earlier in the year. They really struggled, perhaps, against the different playing style that the Japanese bring to the table.
Yep, they had a lot of unforced errors. While Huck did have some great defense, a lot of the turnovers for Showdown were due to drops or errors or miscalculations.
So stick with us. After the game, we'll have our post-game interview. This is Liam Rosen, though, for Nikki Smith signing off. Stick with us tomorrow. We're going to live stream 3 more games. We've got some good matchups for you. Check them out at skydmagazine.com.
We don't have an interview, so we need Oh, well, they're coming in a minute, so they'll come off this first time. I don't think we can wait. So do you want to sign us off? Or? Okay. Now you got 2 more.